And we're live. An hour late, but here I am. An hour late, and yet here we are. I was helping my mom with something, and then lady night over here just messaging me. It's like, hey, shouldn't you? You're live. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not live. Don't scare me like that. I thought I had it set up for 4. No, actually, no. Earlier today, I was like, oh, I have it at 3. And then I needed to help my mom with something. And at that time, I'm like, oh, it's 4. It's at 4. I don't have to stress about it. It's not until 4. It was 3. I I was busy. As you can see on my bed, I'm doing something. I'm doing something. I'm getting stuff. Hello, Lady Night. There should be commercials. I turned them on, but you're on before, so I don't know. Maybe you missed it, but hopefully people that hop on now are gonna get commercials. But do you get commercials when I hit live? I wonder if you're in the waiting room. If you're in not the waiting room, but if you're waiting for me to go live, like it says like, oh, we'll be live in 30 minutes, and you hop on, and it's like you're waiting for me to hit the live button. When I go live, do commercials play? Questions. But no commercials today. Well, there is commercials. Do y'all feel weird about the commercials? Too bad. I gotta monetize. You know. I saw them at the other day's event with waiting. Okay. So, anyways, I'm going through all my guidebooks. Oh, right. And lady, now I should have messaged you. I meant to message you, but could you help translate some of the spreads in these? I think this one has some unique spreads, right? It wouldn't be in the stack if I didn't see anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some in here. Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, could you help translate? Yeah, because I'm like, at least for the cards. I forget how cool this deck looks. I'll pull it out one of these days when I'm doing readings. Yeah. Look at that for the moon. Oh, anyways, that's not to get distracted. But yeah, for this one and the for the row rig, right? I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, I'm going through and I'll get my book too. Okay, good. Because I just went through all my like non-specific rorig. I'm sorry, I can't. But I went through all like my non-guidebook decks like through specific authors. So like I did like all this. Well, no, I haven't done one. I need to do Rachel Pollack's Tarot Wisdom. She has quite a few spreads. They're not like specific design spread positions or set up designs on there, but they have good questions for each of the cards. I really like that. So I'm like, this is officially going to be my tarot spread journal, and I'm essentially going to be making my own 1001 spreads just so that I have easy access direct to them. So like I'm having these are some made by Rachel Pollack, and then these are the Marielle. Yeah, these are all guidebooks that have like unique spreads in them. I'm like, some of them I'm like, which going through it makes me disappointed. I get disappointed seeing just when a guidebook or a little booklet has like just like something like this at the back of the book and nothing else, but these though I like, because the point of the Mesquite Tarot, I like this deck, by the way. They need to reprint it. Is its simplicity. This truly is like the best minimalist simple deck. It's like it has that lightness that the Mariloon has, but it's like, yeah, I don't know, I like it. A personal spread book is a good idea. Yeah, and going through it it going through them, it's like it makes me like, because I want to be able to design my own spreads eventually down the line, because yeah, what is that? What is what? What is what? Just because of the spreads? I mean, but the point of this is like minimalism and simplicity. So there's really not much demand for like that, you know? So like here there's like a moon, a lunar reading, you know, for the full new moon and the waxing and waning moons. Right, the two card spreads on one. Yeah, that's like, I feel like you could have, I feel like this could have been put onto one, right? This could have been put on one page, you know. But you know, it helps, it helps with the look of it. The whole thing is very simple. I wish the book was more openable, so it holds in the hand better. Like I said, like I don't like being forced, like I'm trying to break the spine on it. I want to feel like I can comfortably just have the book open without it feeling like it wants to close up on me, you know. But this is a good deck. I did a walkthrough of it. Where is it? Where'd I put it? It's a mini deck, so I don't know. I don't know where. Did I put it over here? I did. Let me see, make sure. Yeah, this is a, and the tuck box is all like falling apart. I already taped it once. And then these are the backs. I'm like, I like it. I haven't read with it, obviously, as you've seen. Oh. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say very different, just very again, it's like, it's, I think this is where minimalism in tarot peaked. Most minimalist decks that I've seen just come off as lacking or lazy or just too void of anything, like just too, it's not stimulating enough. Oh my gosh, I missed breakfast, but I had a really good lunch. But it's like I want to go into a food coma right now. I want to, the itis is hitting me. But it's just a general basic Rider-Waite-Smith deck, so nothing too crazy. Okay, so I don't know what else to talk about. I know what else to talk about. Oh, right. Now I get disappointed when I don't see, right, how I don't see any good spreads. And it also makes me judge the booklets or the decks that are made with very it makes me judge the guidebooks to any deck that doesn't have spreads. And especially when these decks are like, it's, and they have good information, but it doesn't really seem to take into account that people are going to shuffle and read and use these in spreads, and that these cards are going to be randomly put together and combined together. I think people like to just think of tarot like, I don't know, like I feel like when they make a deck, they keep it limited to the fool's journey of 0 to 21 and call it a day, and not take into consideration that it's going to be intermixed and shuffled. You know, it's not just going to stay stagnant from ace to 10 and then the court cards. You know, it's I don't know. I get that vibe. Maybe that might be a bit of projection, but I'm like, I don't know. What is that noise? What are they doing out there? Anyways, do you have a favorite guidebook for any deck? Oh gosh. What would it be? Majestic Earth, Tarot of Delphi. Those are really good guidebooks. I would like her to make a book on fine art, or like art interpretation and tarot, like combining the two. I think Hinkle could make a really good book on those on that subject. Another standout guidebook, now that they're all out, another standout guidebook was Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Alchemy guidebook right here, for her alchemy deck. This is a good introduction to what alchemy is and how you can work with it, because I think one of the things that people struggle with approaching alchemy is that you think it's like this chemistry lab table and these ancient manuscripts mixing these metals and toxic chemicals and trying to make lead into gold, but it's really more metaphorical, and this helps bridge that gap from the esoteric diagrams and manuscripts to the modern day, into how we can practice alchemy ourselves without necessarily even having a whole chemistry thing. And some people do say that there is benefits to using to actually doing the chemical processes with a lab and everything, with of course the proper safety precautions and all that. But anyways, but this is I think this is a great book for an introduction to alchemy in general, and also for like what the deck is. I haven't picked it up. I haven't really read with it. I because it's like, I don't know, I want to set time aside for it specifically. What was another one? There was a few that I'm like, oh yes, that's a good one. Oh yes, that's a good one. But now I'm like, I can't find any. The Universal Tarot. Let me see if I have the deck here. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. The Universal Tarot, the guidebook for this deck, for this one here. That guidebook is really good. Very simple and really informative, and like describes what is on the cards. In good detail. So I like that one. The Marielle guidebook is kind of what I learned with, but I kind of needed other stuff to work with that, so I wouldn't say that. No, actually, no. I always say I don't like the Marielle guidebook. So yeah, let me post this right here, since this is what we're focusing on right now. Yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know. I can't think of anything else here. Oh, the Dust to Onyx guidebook is a really good book as well. Just in general, just reading it and seeing her journey. So yeah. So yeah, what else? What else was the? I would say the Nameless One Tarot and Oracle book. I haven't read through all of it though, but it looks pretty informative, and there's a lot of spreads back in that book. So yeah, which I'm really excited to like get those and actually work with those. I think I'll use one in one of my deck-in videos, in this deck-in that we're going to do to finish Aries off. Let's see, what should / shouldn't be in a guidebook these days. Well, let's see. What should be is a clear explanation of what is in the cards, but not as like, but not to the point to where it's like, okay, obviously we can see what's on the card. Like there's a horse on it. Okay, yeah, we can see that. But what does it mean symbolically? How does it tie into the meaning of the cards? Don't just say what's in it, but also relate it to the meaning. Explain why or how the imagery on the cards relates to the meanings of the card. You gotta unite those two. The Brady Tarot does a really good job of this. The Brady Tarot guidebook does a really good job of that. The again, like I said, the I have it in this bag. The Universal Tarot, the Majestic Earth. I can't think of what else. I can't think of any other guidebooks. Uh, hmm. I'm sure when I go through them, I'm gonna be like, oh yes, that one. Uh, Right. Why the artist chose the image and the details. Right. Because you could put anything on there. Like even I think I mentioned this to you, Lady Night, when we were going through. Oh, this is another good one. This is another good guidebook. The Outsider Tarot. Uh, but um, but in this book, for example, like this is fair enough. I mentioned this to you when I looked through it. It was the Nine of Wands, I think, and I guess to give it the what's the term, benefit of the doubt, play devil's advocate here. What is this? No, these are majors. I want to go to the wands. To the staves. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. The 9. Yeah. So this one, it's like this one clearly like she's trying to explain her stance on this card and why she chose this imagery. So she does a good. She explains why and the point of this, but it fails to relate to to what she's trying to also say with like the mythological figure and the meaning of the card, because it's like it sticks out compared to the other cards, like from the other cards it just seems so Rider-Waite Smithy that you're like, why is it like that? And she says that it's for an homage to the Rider-Waite Smith, but I just feel like it was kind of like phoning it in, and like kind of like not really like doing the most, which brings me to this update. This came in today. If my camera will focus. Focus, camera, focus. There we go. The Bee Tarot by Christopher Hughes, by the art of Nadia Turner. I like Nadia Turner's art. And I was like, this seems interesting. And it is like a very much like a beekeeper's tarot, like beekeeping and the tarot, like relating the two, and how Christopher Hughes worked with bees and all that. Bees, these beautiful bees. You know, I don't know if you guys watch that lady on Instagram or TikTok. I don't know where she's on. But one thing I don't like about this, I'm a little disappointed in, and I saw this right when I'd watched walkthroughs of it, is the court cards. There's only one suit that has pretty decent court cards, and I was expecting a little more from the court cards. Let's see. Let me see if I can show all of them, because I shuffled the deck, because it's linen. It's linen cardstock. Llewellyn went linen. I was spooked. I was gooped. I was surprised. Let's see if I can find all of them, because you're gonna see I have to show all of them to get my point across, and to like how a little disappointed on the court cards I am. But the rest of the cards are great. The court cards, I'm like, I can look over it. I can overlook it. For now, let's see how it reads with, how I read with them. If it gets too much in the way, then I'll be like, okay, maybe it's time to move this one on, but we'll see. I don't like the Robin Hood deck, but the book is good. Each card has a catchphrase. The Five of Swords has na 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 na. Yeah, I'm like, I've had the Robin Hood. I think I moved it along, or I still have it and it's still waiting to be like picked up, or something, or like someone to buy it or something, or I'll probably just donate it to Goodwill. But anyways, back to this here, so I can show you what I mean. Okay, okay, here we go. Okay, so they're not going to be really exactly in order. So here's what is this? The princess, yeah. And then there's the king. There's the queen. And there's the prince. Which I'm like, I'm like, why not make different backgrounds? You know, I feel like maybe they were kind of running late on their deadlines, and so they were like, sure, we'll just do this. But it's like there's details to them. You know, they're like they we could have done a little more. Like what they do with the swords is something. You know, like of course the king and the queen are the same, but look at the page is more far away, and the prince is, you know, but you know, uh, but I do like the pentacles. I do like the pentacle court cards, which are all. I was expecting something like this from the pentacles. You know, hello, Stacy. See, I was expecting something like this. I love these. These are cool. You know, the pentacle suits. This is great. I love this. This I absolutely love. You know, and like the rest of the deck isn't bad. You know, I think it works. You know, I'm gonna give it a try. You know, despite the court cards, because I love my court cards. Uh, you know, I would have maybe preferred portraiture. I would have preferred court cards like this. You know, if they did something like this with the courts, more portrait. You know, 'cause the courts you don't really get much anyways with a full body of showing a full body depicted in the courts, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna read through the book. Maybe they justify their choices in the book somehow. Uh, maybe that's what Christopher Hughes wanted. It's just a little bit of a letdown, you know. What is that noise? Is someone getting towed? I don't know what's going on. So yeah, but I gotta find a bag. Well, no, I should work with it a bit more before I think I want to even keep it. And if I really like it and I really like working for it, and the core cards don't bother me that much, in the end, then I'll get a bag for it. I'll get a nice, lovely bag like one of these for as a home for it. Something with golds and hexagons, maybe, or something floral, or you know, with warm golden colors, perhaps. We'll see. But it is that thin Llewellyn cardstock, which I know back in the day people always complained about the Llewellyn cardstock being like, oh, it's too thin. I don't like it. And now we have decks like the True Black that are so thick you can't shuffle them. They're so hard to shuffle, and it's no, it's just no. I'm fine with the thin, flimsy cardstock, but I don't like it like Game Crafter thin. Game Crafter had very flimsy, very wobbly cards, especially when they're extra large, like the Ashira Tarot. But I think Ashira Tarot moved to a different printer, so we're gonna see. Oh no! Oh yeah, yeah. My bags are waterproof plastic at this point. I've knocked over my tea one too many times. That's one of my biggest fears. My getting the deck wet or something because of the bags. But for the most part, I tend to like set it aside off the desk, and I tend to keep water. I say as I have this huge jug of water right here on my table. Speaking of, I need to drink water. So yeah, I try and keep like no coffee cups, no open vessels near my decks, but near my decks or my workspace. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, as long as it's yeah, like I'm like if I go out and do stuff, I'm not absolutely not going to take my Tarot of Delphi or any of my Baba Studio decks, you know. That's going to be here, home, safe, sanitary, dry, no risk of getting wet or stained or sticky or dirty or whatever, you know. If it's imprint, let's go for it, you know, because if maybe 3 or 4 cards get dirtied up or whatever or damaged, then I can easily email the publisher and be like, do you have a replacement? But if it's something that's out of print, I'm obviously not. I'm even my Marielle that I have with the borders still on it that are not my second edition, because the second edition that's it's in production, but the ones with the borders with the old original Hierophant and Judgment and 3 of Swords and High Priestess, then yeah. Anyway, speaking of, I gotta do my card of the day. You're right. If it had been my Rorig or the Arcus Arcanum, I would have screamed. Yeah, it's. I would have been heartbroken. I would have been devastated. So yeah, let me just do this live. Usually I do this off camera. It's not like it's anything special. Atlantis Tarot. I don't have that one. That's Los Scarabeo, right? That's the thing. Los Scarabeo has a lot of turnover rate for a lot of their decks. So a lot of their decks go out of print, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in high demand and are worthy of the triple digit prices, you know? Just because it's out of print doesn't necessarily mean it's worth that much. I got it for $20. There you go. Yeah. It's pretty slow today, Lady Knight. I would never pay more than $50 for an out of print deck. I've paid triple digits for out of print decks in the past, but they're it's far and few between. I see other people, but no one says anything. Right? Yeah, a lot of people just take it out. They're like, well, it's just the market. It's just how it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. A lot of people will be like, it's out of print. It's totally not out of print. The person's going to print the rest right now. Why are you making it that price? The pricing is... People get stupid trying to make their money back off of the decks that they've collected. And it's I'm you'll get more money out of your decks by selling readings. Or, on YouTube you get some advertisement revenue back from it. But anyways. Even the Ananda and Ansata were under 50 each. She's a frugal shopper. Which, again, thank you again for those, Lady Knight. Let me hide this comment because we're off of that topic now. We have the... Let me censor him a bit. The King of Discs. I saw the row rig in English that got what for 2,000? What the hell? Yeah, I'm like, that's stupid. I'm like, for the book just needs the book looks like it has a lot of info on it that needs, I think it needs to be translated into English. Um, but that's 2,000. That's too much. That's out of hand. That's a used car, like a rinky-dink used car, but still, that's like several rents, you know, several months rent. The Blue Angel printing version from the mid-90s. Blue Angel printed it? Of all people, I would not have expected Blue Angel. I thought it'd be like AGM. Yeah, and the keywords are on the pictures. And the pictures, again, it's like, the pictures are pretty self-explanatory? No, not really. Because it is a pretty out there deck, you know? Tarot can take you places a card can't. It can't take. Listen, Toadstool. It can't take you to those grinder hookups. It can't. Blue Angel was an American. Blue Angel's American? Why did I thought Blue? Why did I think Blue Angel is like Australian? Hay House is Australian. Rockpool's Australian, right? No, Blue Angel's Australian. I don't know. It's exhausted. I'm exhausted. I haven't taken place. But anyways, hi Toadstool. How have you been? Very earthy today. Very earthy, focused cards. Let me get my planner so I can record, so I can keep track. Don't know if they are American, but the Rorik sold in English was from Blue Angel. Huh. Okay. You know, on April 12th. Friday. Also, the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde yesterday. Huh. And Saturn conjunct Mars conjunct Saturn on the 10th. Let's see. Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Here it is. Oh yeah, someone's truck is getting picked up. Either it's getting towed or it's, I don't know. Anyways. Let's see. Let's see here. Right, okay. Okay, let's see. I don't think those original tarot decks came with guidebooks. Well, I mean, what do you mean by original tarot decks? You know, tarot was its own guidebook in 78 images and shuffled into a million potential stories. I mean, sure, but like, also, how do I go about this? There's intention behind them, you know? Well, the Golden Dawn had like a universal little white book, and that was just like maybe like a few sentences on the meanings of the cards, but really it was just about like correspondences and like, again, quick meanings, really. Oh, absolutely. If you're talking history on, yeah, no, like Marseille Tarot, usually what we would have was separate books on fortune telling and divination, or booklets. And that was, and even then it was mostly like for playing cards. Like, again, the oldest known like tarot meaning guidebook, not a guidebook, because when we say guidebook, we kind of think it comes with a deck, but a tarot booklet was like in the 1700s, I think. And even then it was just like a little white book or a little booklet, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the guidebooks, I think the only thing was Rider-Waite-Smith with the Pictorial Key to the Tarot, and even that wasn't very like it was informative, but it wasn't as useful as what we're getting today in books like, I'm gonna say this. I'm assuming, as I haven't even read this one. Let me pick a different book. As informative as, say, here, this one. This one's pretty informative, as to like how to work with it and what to do with stuff, Not at all like what we got from Pictorial Key to the Tarot, With mass market sales, the guidebooks were a selling point. Right. The coming with a book. And it's like these days, unless your book is really out there, like a Marielle or like here we go, here's another one, or Dreams of Gaia, I feel like if it's a Rider-Waite-Smith, do you really need? Do you really need? Do you? That being said, I do like the Fyodor Pavlov guidebook, but even then, it's still like, oh, it's Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, I just liked it because there's some cards I was like, oh, that's like, oh, the Six of Cups. I think that's supposed to be the artist depicted there in the Six of Cups. So I look at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's them. Let's see. I tend to follow an age-old system. What I find interesting in guidebooks is usually the deck creator is alive and is willing to explain why they made certain image choices. That's me and Lady and I were just talking. We were just saying like, yeah, we want that. We want that from our guidebooks. Not like a use your intuition. Like no, or can you not explain? Or and no tea, no shade. Like to people who just read intuitively and all that. That's cute. Yeah. But I want dependability and what's the word? Not dependability, but oh gosh. Some oh gosh. Regulation. I want some regulation with readers, but for the most part though, I'm not to the point to where I'm like, if you memorize the book, that's what you should. Like, no, like you're supposed to let that knowledge swirl and flow, and merge it with your intuition. And it's your intuition pulls from the pool of knowledge that you get from that. But like I said, or I kind of touched on this, guidebooks, especially if it's Rider-Waite-Smith based, can get pretty fucking repetitive. They can like yeah. Right. Why put a book in at all? Like there was some, what was it? There was a few books that I was like, why? Like I'm bored. Like there's some that I'm like, I'm getting bored, which is where I'm like, okay, if there's spreads in it and it shows that I feel like the creator of that deck putting spreads in it or even designing their own spreads in it actually has some intention of the deck being used and read with and worked with, versus people that, just throw in even just the Celtic cross, which there's, again, I'm coming to love the Celtic cross, no tea, no shade to it, but I'm just like, it's telling the type of deck that's being made here, or how much of it's sort of like when you hear about creators that don't read the tarot themselves making decks, and like you can tell that they don't work with the tarot. That being said, some of them, like, who was it? Oh gosh, he has so many decks and he makes a bunch of them. Tarot Oracle buys a lot of his decks. Kiro Marchetti. Or is it Kiro? No. Lucy, if you're watching this back, I'm sorry. But he makes a bunch of decks, Rider-Waite-Smith decks, and they're solid decks. I like his what was it? It's the only deck of his that I have. It's the Yeah, this one right here. Yeah, the Tarot Grand Lux. Ooh, I kind of want to. Ooh, I want to. Yeah, Ciro. Is it Ciro Marchetti, right? But I love this. I love this deck. It's so gaudy. It's so gaudy and like, you know, like like the Photoshop isn't super clean in my opinion, but it looks just so extravagant. How can I say it, you know? Ciro Marchetti. Thank you. Thank you. Very circusy. I feel like he could design a Cirque du Soleil tarot. Let's see. I struggled with the Little White Book for years before finally flinging it aside. Oh, yeah. The best thing I drew from it is Waite's quote: "The true tarot is symbolism. It speaks no other language and offers no other signs." Yeah, yeah. If you know what this, I think I'd recommend for studying tarot rather than the guidebooks is, again, and this is how I learned the Marielle, is deconstructing the symbols in each card piece by piece, from the colors to the designs to the tools to the people to the poses to the directions. Break all that down to the numbers, you know, and then you get a good building block system of how to read it. Though when you actually put it into actual practice, like there's that deconstructed tarot that's the Rider-Waite-Smith with just like pieces of the symbols just put on the card and not actually intermingled, because again, it's like the person is holding a scepter or holding the cup, or is it on the ground or tipped over, you know, what's it has to play around rather than just the symbol onto, you know, which is where I'm like, no, the symbols have to interplay and connect and work together. Like again, there's a difference between a red rose and the white rose. There's a difference between the fool holding the white rose versus the rose on a flag as a banner on the death card, you know. um but yeah, Little White Books, they're too minimal. They're too minimal, and it's an easy thing that you want, that there's like very minimal information that you want to memorize, but really what you need is to, what I think is, get as much as you can on the info and consolidate it to a finite core seed of the knowledge of it. Like again, like the five of pen, my gosh, here we go, the five of cups and the Marielle. I view that not as disappointment like in the Rider-Waite-Smith. I view that as the wounded healer, you know, as the medical stuff, you know. It's an interesting card how it shifts that way. um and uh so it's different, you know. But anyways, but yeah, Little White Books are, I go through them once and I don't look at them again unless there's something in there that like I'm like, wait, I need to look at this one more time. Like, but like I said, it depends on the Little White Book. Like if there's just like a sentence on there, I'm like, okay, I see what this is. Like Terror of the Holy Lights Little White Book, she intends it not to be like the end all be all and the only thing you should rely on, but it's definitely those are definitely keywords that consolidate the ideas from the bigger book that she writes in. uh so yeah, that's why the Rorig is so fascinating to me. The painter is a Scientologist. You see, and that weirds me out about it because I'm like, ugh, I'm like, listen, you know, has never read tarot but did his homework to create the deck. Right, right. That's what's interesting. That part right there. He's never read tarot, you know. Let's see. When I look at Marchetti decks, or how was it? How did she write it? Marchetti. Okay, yeah, Marchetti. I always think of Vegas Showgirls. It's Showgirls. It is. It is very Showgirls. Art history helps too. Yes, art history does help too. It's so. First of all, the back. Hello. Is Marchetti? You know, no straight man. No straight man would draw this. Am I going to start reading with this deck again? Now I'm just looking at this, not even showing you guys. Like, it's just so gaudy. I love it. I think we need to develop our own Rosetta Stone of language and how a majority of the population reads a particular symbol. We build our own glossaries and learning the language of symbols. That the problem with that is what gets cut out of the meaning of that symbol if we're doing a universal symbol. If I'm not, I'm not sure if that's what you mean by that, Toadstool, but there are books that do a good job of collecting multicultural meanings for different symbols. Like again, like a butterfly means different in ancient Mesoamerican traditions versus like in European or even or Japanese traditions. You know, you know, there's that. You know, what gets to be the universal meaning of that symbol? It's like it's got to be flexible, you know, and what resonates to the person as well. Anyways, yeah, I like to recommend books on that. I would say the Penguin book of the Penguin's Dictionary of Symbols. That's a good book on symbols, and the Signs and Symbols source book by Adele Nozadar. Let's see. I like the little white book. If the deck itself has a specific topic and some specific interpretations based on the pictures, like the Atlantis or the Universal Fantasy. And I was also gonna say, but it's really I think it's like a little like treaty or treatise, right? Is that the right word? Or a little essay on the ideas and the philosophy behind the deck. Like the for me, it's the White Newman. That one actually that one's quite interesting with the differences that it makes. The differences that it makes. What am I saying? The changes that it makes in its cards, you know, and she clearly states it because the cards don't always look the same as in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. For the most part, they do. Like here we have the Nine of Swords, but she makes a clear note to point out those little things here. These little they're called, these are the Newman or the spirits, I think, that's depicted in this card. Let's see, where's one that I'm really thinking about all the time? I think it's the Five of Wands. Yeah, here's one. There's a lot of like initiations and journeys. So like here we have the Four of Wands, where I usually view it as like a celebration or a traditional celebration, but here it's almost a ceremony, and it's a transitional period of these two people, or like one person is being initiated and and you know traversing this threshold here by these four wands, and then we have, where's the other one? And then there's this one, which is kind of again like a high priestess of some sort, a priestess that initiates and guides. Like that's not a weapon she's holding; it's like a tool for a religious ritual of some sort. And the mask is also again a traditional thing, and it's very different from the Eight of Pentacles that we see in other cards. What's the Eight of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite-Smith? What is that? Waiting, right? No, that's seven. The eight is, oh right, the eight is the crafting of the pentacle over and over, you know, like repeated small work. Let me see, I gotta find that, you know. There's a specific card I'm thinking about that like really changes it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense too. Watch, it's probably gonna be at the very, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Yeah, here's the Five of Wands. Here's not necessarily a conflict or competition, but it's more a trial to determine whether the person in the middle is worthy of, or passes this trial or passes judgment here. That's just me. That's just me. That's just what she says. And then here is the 10 of Pentacles, where we see these dogs, the Newman of the wild canines, domesticating themselves and entering into civilized world, into a civilized, domesticated world where nature is being domesticated. So yeah, there's a lot. It's like, yeah, you get a bit of it, but that's all in the little white book, and it's not much, but it's enough to like, okay, and the point of this is to tap into, again, pre-civilization human culture again. But yeah, anyways, I wish the Tildewick had a good guidebook that explained all the things that were put into the cards, like the sculptures or artifacts. Again, that's one where you really got to be intuitive with it, and you just gotta like go off and look at like what that statue looks like and what that could signify, or whatever. I can't remember much of the statues and artifacts in the Tildewick because I think I had it for a bit. Do I have a copy? No, I think I moved it along. Let's see. The thing that frustrated me with the little white book was the handful of keywords weren't synonymous, but I didn't take it into account the query. I didn't take into account the query or placement in a spread. Yeah, and I don't really. I prefer the synonymous, but I don't like. I this is a whole nother thing with synonymous and weren't synonyms, right? Because again, I think it's more connotation. Because again, there's conflict and competition are both words that are for the Five of Wands, but they're different. Competition is more friendlier versus conflict. There's much more aggression behind that. For example. And one thing I don't like is when the keywords are like too synonymous to other cards, going back to that 2 and 3 of Wands in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, what are we doing there? Why are we doing that? But I didn't take into account the query or placement in the spread. So like the keywords and then those keywords plugged into like a position in the spread, or what do you mean? There was a website that identified some of the things in the Tildewick and the story in each artifact, and they made sense in why they were chosen for the specific card. But I can't find the website anymore. It might have been a blog. I think I know what you're talking about. It sounds familiar, but I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, one thing that I think a lot of people kind of forget with tarot though is that it's like all the correspondences and all the different things within the card has to be united into its main overarching theme, and not to like repeat itself over and over again and harp on a certain theme of it, but rather how those different things tie back into it. Like I was remembering one of the decks. Which one was it? The Sasuraibito Tarot, where I believe the 8 or the 7 of Wands shows a spider in the corner, and she just put it there because she just wanted to. There's no symbolic intention behind that spider being put on that card, but you can add onto what that indicates, what that could mean, and that's where she's like said she kind of is. It's kind of like her giving a green light for your intuition to go wild with it. Let's see. Cloud forms don't come with guidebooks. We just stare at the sky and make sense of what we see. When what we see consistently makes sense, we adopt that meaning. Well, cloud forms, that's more like you project an image onto those clouds, or like the ink blot test, or like the Lady Knight's really good at this with the tarot as color deck, where it's those splotches of color just free flowing onto the card, onto the canvas, whatever. I don't know how exactly she made it. I think it was like pouring color onto canvas or something. Um and there you get like through the ripples and the design and the what's the word, the staining of the card, you kind of see something in those. It looks like this, and then from that thing we put on the symbolic meanings, or we put on, or we apply or project a meaning onto it, because again, a dragon in the West is different from a dragon in the East. And so I'm trying to synthesize those two into one, because I think like even again, to go to Mesoamerican traditions, I think it wasn't really a dragon, it was called a feathered serpent, but that was again a god to them. That was a form of one of the gods that they had. Let's see, but don't we project images onto tarot representations? Not necessarily, because those are much more literal. We can literally say, a person standing on a hill, you know, in the defensive pose, or something like that. A person standing on a hill, uh, a person sitting down with swords crossed and a blindfold on. We're not projecting the blindfold on there. The blindfold is actually on there, so that's the difference. What we get is the meaning of the blindfold. Is that did she blindfold herself? Did she, or did someone else put her on there? The Hierophant, it's a pope. It's a pope. It's a religious, it's a religious figurehead, with two supplicants under them, two students, if you will, holding a scepter and doing a sign of benediction, or the sign, or the sword mudra, but that is in there. We're not projecting that. That's actually being depicted, versus I'm trying to think of a deck here. I'm trying to pick a deck here that works with this. Well, I guess here we'll go back to what I said, tarot as color. Right, that's the second part. That part we project onto it. The blinded herself or blinded by others, right? Versus here. Oh, hello, Brienne. It's been a while. Great to be here. Yeah, Brienne Love. I'm like, I'm not sure that's, yeah. Yeah, but that's not what I mean when we project images onto like these cards. These images are being projected onto us, and it's our brains doing that. Versus like here, Lady Knight, do your thing. What do I see here? I'm terrible at this. Lady Knight's really good at this. I'm not sure. She's gonna say it, and I'm gonna be like, "Yep, I see it." I'm like, what could we project onto this image of the Three of Wands? Even ignoring what that it's called the Three of Wands. Okay, now I'm starting to see it. I see like a hand reaching out at the top of the card, the blue hand, the blue. One of those flatfish, a flounder. Yeah, I see like two people maybe here doing some lewd acts. That's one, yeah. Uh yeah, you see, and that's another way of like going at this, of the blue working with the red, working with the darker red or the richer red, or the two different reds here. Yeah, to me, Well, if I go that way, when I think of it like is one intruding on the other, I'm thinking I'm just like, yeah, I can totally tell she poured the red for the background, then she poured that more, what is that, magenta-y kind of red? I don't know. I'm terrible at my colors. And then the blue is the last color that poured on it. So I don't go that way. Um the little hole on the right is the eye. The little hole on the right is the eye. I don't know which one. But yeah, one is smooth and the other more ragged or chaotic. You see, you're kind of taking, again, you're taking it more, a little bit more literal. Meanwhile, like I said, this is what Lady Knight and I are doing, is more projecting an image onto the card via accidental. Like Ita Colquhoun was not intentionally trying to make the colors look like that. Well, maybe, because I'm sure like different consistencies, like if she were to do watercolor on acrylic, but I don't know what she did. I think it says here what she used. So like here's this one. This one's more smoky. Like the black one is more smoky and more, you know. I see like this yellow right here looks like a person. It looks like a mite. Like Rorschach. Right. More Rorschach, where we're projecting something onto it, you know. Again, it's what we see. You know, that's like a whole nother, like I feel like that's a step behind what happens here, whereas Wait was like, he needs to be wearing a golden crown of 3 tiers with 3 little black spokes at the very top. The pillars have to have these designs on them. The Let me see if it'll focus. If it'll focus on the card. He needs to be holding a scepter. He could have just done a simple golden staff, but no, he said it needs to have 3 crosses on it. There's intention there. I used to read beer foam on glasses for at happy hour. Yeah, pareidolia. Yeah, seeing meaning where yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's that. That's more like when a synchronicity happens and people are like, oh, it has to mean something. It means I have to set, like, again, making leaps and reaches versus what is it? But that's different. You know, that's, I feel like it's a little different. Um but something I need to take into consideration, because this is something that I'm like, I think about it in like the into the reverse engineering what it means to read a tarot card. You know, rude. Let's see. A darkness trying to grip the light. Yeah. Uh, the rain gold being given back to the river after the dawn of the gods. Wait, what? Are you talking about? Is that the Reichengold? Is that like the a reference to what's it called? Gosh, what is it called? The ring cycle. And also my family here, so I might hop off soon. The ring cycle, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, Wagner's ring cycle. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that's again, uh pareidolia is, I think, a little bit different from what, you know, but it's that's something to take into consideration. I should when we do readings, I haven't thought of that, because again, it's like, it's something that I feel like it sounds like a little bit like delulu, like a little bit delusional. You know, again, that seeing meaning where there is none intended, that's one thing. It's sort of like a, kind of reminds me of Benabal Wen's take on the tower card. Again, this is like the intentional interpretation of the card versus the intent versus, like, I guess it would be the paradolistic interpretation of some symbols. Holy wow, interesting. Yeah, so like here, Benabal One points out or mentions that the little flakes, the yods, I know them as yods, but but Benabal Wen says, oh, think of them like autumn leaves. I'm pretty sure Benabal Wen knows that they're yods. She knows her shit, but for holistic tarot, she's like, think of them as autumn leaves, because that makes it more relatable to the everyday person, because not everybody knows what the yod means or what that indicates and the spiritual significations of what a yod is. Or tears, yeah, that is something else. Because or I guess that would be the pareidolia. I think what this is, when we look at this deck here with the paint splotches, I think that's called something else. All right, bye Toadstool. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off soon too, because I'm like, we're dinner, it's almost dinner time, even though I still feel really full from lunch. But yeah, and then my family's here, so yeah. But yeah, that's something I need to take into consideration. I'm like, oh yeah. I used to see them as fire sparks from right, sparks from yeah. That's how I also view them, as simply, yeah, I think I might take a nap after I hop off this live, because I am tired. Oh gosh. What do you think of sequence decks like the Lover's Path, where each suit is an entire story? I have my ideas on this, because this lines up with how I feel about the Fool's Journey. As helpful of a tool it is to learn and memorize the meanings of the cards, or to have a good view of the cards as a whole system, as its own complete thing, it's helpful. But like I said, it makes people forget that you have to shuffle the cards, and you're gonna sometimes get the Tower and then something worse, or you're gonna, like, again, you always use the Tower and the Star, after the Tower, the Star comes, after the chaos and destruction of the Tower, there's always the Star of Hope after. And I'm like, well, what if you get the Star and then the Tower after? How are you going to read that? Are you going to say, oh no, it should be, oh no, this is the past, and that's like, is that how you're going to read it? It's like, you got to learn to read it as flexible as possible, and so that ties in as well with those other sequence ones. It's been raining here, makes us feel tired. It's not raining here. It's been pretty sunny, but it's been warm. The weather changed quite drastically. It was like really cold, I think, the last few nights, and then it got really warm today. So yeah. So hopefully it's not like me getting sick. Oh, I hope not. So again, that ties into, again, after the Two of Wands comes the Three of Wands. It's like, no, because again, I don't read the cards. When I lay out the cards, I shuffle them. I don't read them in order, Yeah, I could say that, but it's like, what about like different parts of the different stories intermingling with each other and altering how you would read it? Because it's like, if you're going to do that, then you're going to be like, oh, if you're at this part in the story, and then so the next part is going to come along where this happens, and it's like, that's not, no, because the next card is something else, so it's like, I feel like people want to read what's not there on the on the cards at times, that's what I feel like those sequence decks happens. But I like them in terms of like learning to apply mythology to the tarot and storytelling to the tarot and seeing how scenes and actions. Yeah, I read the actions and interactions of the scene. Yeah. Reading the scenes of like you're going through a situation just like this, you know, if you you know of you know, referencing a certain story or plot in a movie or something, you know, yeah. And again, responding again, tying back to your own hero's journey. But again, it makes us limit ourselves to that. It limits us to that plot, to that story plot, rather than like knowing to break it apart and shuffle it around and move it around and mix it up, you know. And if that's the case, then if one event happens before another, that alters how someone is going to develop and grow as a person, you know. Oh yeah, I find this like very easy to read when you know the stories. Yeah, and Lover's Path is very, it's a unique one. I haven't read with it much. To this day, I still have not read with it. It might be one I might have to move along if I don't pick it up anymore and I don't read with it. Maybe I need to read it more for for lovers readings, but it's like it's tricky to read. So yeah. Sorry, what the heck are we talking about? We're talking about I'm talking about in general, like a general approach to tarot, but specifically referring to, let me get it. I have it right here. Specifically, Lady Knight is talking about this deck right here. Oh yeah, same here. I have like a series that I've been working on for so long, and I just need to get back to it. And the drawings are so beautiful, but I just can't. I just don't read with it. So yeah, let's see. Let's look at the cups then. It's the King of Cups. Staves, coins, staves, heavy strength, arrows, awakening, desire, cups, arrows, sacrifice, cups. That's the Prince. 2, 9, Ace, 7, Queens, Fortune. This 4, arrows, contemplation. 2 of staves, Prince of staves, Queens, cups. That's the Queen. We're gonna skip the courts. I don't think we need the courts to tell the story. There's another cups, 6 coins. Okay, yeah. I like it for work readings. Oh, really? But it also works for love. I mean, like it just says, like it just screams that. But let's see. Let's see. That's the 4, the 5, the 7, Ace, 9. I have the 2, 3, 10, 6, 10, 9, 8. Okay, so let's see here. So, like, if Tannhauser came up in a love reading tower, I think I'd say wrong girl. He ain't it. So here we have the story in the cups. So we have the ace, and we have the 2. What story is this one being told here? Lady Knight will know, but I can't remember. Yeah, they're operas. Which one's this one then? What opera is this one? The 3 of Cups. We have that celebration. And we have the 4. And then the 5. Okay, so this is the story of Tristan and Isolde. We have that movie. Is the movie any good? I remember watching it, but I don't remember what happens in it. Here's the 7, the 8, the 9, And I love this tent. I love the tree here. I love the light colors, the soft her soft art style was just really good. I like it. But I just don't reach for it. And I really like this. I really like this fool. Uh Tamino. I think this is Native American, indigenous of some sort. I love this with the fire and the fog and the flute and it's just there's just so much going on, you know. uh yeah, Judgment is what you're thinking about. Tannhauser, if Tannhauser and Elizabeth is Judgment. Tristan killed Isolde's fiance, but then they fell in love. Love potion. Ah, she married his king, and they cheated. He was stabbed. She drowned herself. Jesus. I did not get that at all from those cards. You gotta continue the series. You gotta mansplain. I first of all love this depiction of Hades, of Pluto. He's really hot. I just really like. He's daddy. He's daddy, and I don't. He's daddy. I don't like even though like he kidnaps her and all that. Like I'm like kidnap me. No, 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 no. But yeah, I like how he's all in black and he's it's just it's with the gold surrounding him and it's just. Anyways, the cups go with the chariot. Makes sense. It's a watery card, well, astrologically. Dionysus and Ariadne. I thought Ariadne was. This is different because isn't Ariadne with Jason, right? The wands are the ring cycle. Okay, the cups go with the yeah. Okay, yeah. It's Dido and Aeneas. Probably butchering that for the tower, which is called oppression. Penelope and Odysseus for justice. What's going on in the Nine of Wands? Are they fucking? What's going on here? Yeah, but anyways, okay. Let me check my phone here. Okay, nothing important's coming up. Let's see. The stories were well chosen. Ring sequence. Oh, no, 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 no. They mythology loves to do it. They love to do it because they're like, well, they're brothers and sisters, but there's no one else. They can make people. You could have done anything, and what do? You decide to make them all a family. Why? Why? They love to do it. They love to do it. Okay. Okay, it's been an hour. We're gonna call it a. We're gonna call it a. We're gonna call it a day there. Um, it's a real estate deal gone bad. Then threat of divorce. Then incest. Then incest. Death of the gold. Goes back in the Death and the god gold goes back in the water. These sure have a class all their own. You mean the Lover's Path? Oh yeah, this drawing of Dante and Beatrice is so cool too. What is this of the star? even though like it was like a weird story of like, or like their relationship was just purely off of his obsession off of her, like she just like didn't really give a shit about him, but like it's still, the drawings and the pictures are pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, this is like something that you can really talk a lot about. uh you can really do a good series on these, just how the stories go together and all that. Like, again, this is such a cool, like, again, the flames. Whenever she does fire, she pops off when she does fire in her decks. Has she done anything else? I know she did the Goddess Tarot, and then she did this one. She didn't do anything else, did she? You know? Real quick, one last thing. Let me look up the artist and see if she's done anything new. Or is she still with us even? Let's see. Chris Walter. Oh gosh, I have so much. I have a bunch of books and decks in the way of my keyboard. Let me see here. Let me see, because I like her art is really cool. Let's see. Chris Walt, right? Let me see. Well, oh my gosh, is that? Yeah, that's her right there. Is this her? She came out with a book, right? Stories and art, stories and words. Let's see. Tarot for storytellers. The Goddess Tarot workshop with Chris. Let's see. The Goddess Tarot and other decks. I thought she only did 2 decks. She has the Goddess Inspiration Oracle, and then the Sacred World Oracle as well. Celebrates the beauty of Earth. 44 cards, organized by the 4 elements. So 11 cards. Oh, nope, go away. Includes a 48-page. Well, show me. I would like to see some pictures. And then the Goddess Inspiration Oracle. So she did 2 oracles as well. Oh, and I guess this is... Wait, when did this come out? 79 goddesses from around the globe are represented in the stunning, beautiful deck. Each card represents a portrait of deity, keywords, and a message inspired by... What? Is this Printer Studios? Is this new? When did she do this? Can I see pictures? I would like to see it. I would like to see it. Can I see pictures? Okay, here we go. I wish there was more. Not too bad. Interesting, but I wish the imagery was a little more fitting. It's a lot of... I wish I saw more, but I like how there's a bunch of them. Like, I think this is... Yeah, that's Amaterasu. There's Astarte. What is this? Anuket, right? And some Hindu goddesses. She's global. She said all the goddesses. Okay. Then there was a 25th anniversary edition. When did this come out? 25, right? Was that 1998 to now, right? Is that 25? I don't know. Anyways, let's see. Let's see her books. Princess Doomed Queens, the Book of Goddesses. Let me see. Tarot for Storytellers, then. Let's see this. A modern guide for writers and other creatives. Coming in 2024. Oh! Oh, that's right. She did a Kickstarter. Sorry if I wasn't looking at the chat. I was like, yeah. Let's see. I have an extra book from the Lover's Path, but it's not a good guidebook. Or like a novel or something. Yeah, she seems to be more in terms of... But... wow, I didn't know. Okay, so she's coming out with a new book. I'm going to get this. Chris Wilder's many books include Bad Princess. Yeah. So when? Where can I buy it? Where can I pre-order? Right? Even though I'm broke, where can I buy it? Coming from Kickstarter this spring, follow here. Okay, so the Kickstarter has not launched yet, but a tarot book for novelists, nonfiction writers, and creatives starring a more magical life by the best-selling author, the Goddess Tarot. Notify me, please. Oh, I need to sign in. Oh well, I'll do it later. Let me share this then, because this is something that I'm interested in. So yeah, if anybody would like to back that Kickstarter, there you go. Okay, so we're gonna call it a day there. I've already been on for almost an hour and a half. Just chatting. Didn't talk much astrology today, which it happens. If there's nothing exciting happening, then yeah, like it's always like eclipse or what's it called? Or Mercury retrograde, or whenever a planet goes retrograde, we're like, oh, here we go, you know. But yeah. Anyways, thank you everyone that stopped by and listened to my chit chat and me ramble about nothing. Well, I talked about stuff, but yeah, thank you all for stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so you know when I go live again or I upload another video, you know, just so you know. And what else? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. All right, I'll see you all Monday, because I don't go live on the weekends. I should. I'll probably go. Oh, hi Darcy, right when I'm leaving. Right when I'm heading out, Darcy. My gosh, next time I'll remember because I'm like, you know what, just for Darcy I go live later, because I'm like, okay, maybe we'll see. Yeah, you can watch the playback though, you know, always the playback's available. Yeah, it's all right, Darcy, it's all right. But yeah, thanks for stopping by though. Yeah, uh you should on the week. I should, if I can. We'll see. It's just that the weekends are weird for me, to where it's like they just don't have it. It's not like I'm like I get preoccupied with other stuff and have to do stuff with my family. So yeah. Thank you everyone who stopped by. And I'll see you all in the next one. Okay. Bye everyone. Thank you. Darcy, another true fan. All right. Bye everyone.